Hello, everyone. Welcome to Yoga for Tango Dancers. Today, we're going to work a little bit on our balance and we're going to work a little bit on mobilizing and strengthening the knees. So there will be several levels of difficulty, and I encourage you to choose the one that feels just the right amount of challenge but doesn't cross over into that realm of so difficult that it's frustrating and you never want to do it again. Now, for those of you who are new to my channel, I welcome you with open arms and encourage you to subscribe if you would like to stay in touch and see what I have going on my channel. And click that like button if you enjoy this video today. Let's get started. We're going to start at the top of the mat. And the first thing that I would like for you to do is just look down and make sure that your feet are hips width apart or maybe slightly wider. And when I'm referring to hips width, we're talking about the hip joint, not the outer contour of the hip. So right in this place here is where your hip joint. So go ahead and align your feet like that. Soften the knees, and we're just going to take one or two rolls up and down the spine to warm up the spine into our exercises today. Go ahead and release the chin towards the chest, and then begin to roll forward and let the spine gently roll vertebra by vertebra. And the image that I really like using here is imagining that you're a roly-poly, one of those little bugs that rolls up when it's scared. So I want you to imagine that you continue to roll into yourself until you reach a point where it feels like, okay, that's it, that's all I need. And then you're going to press into the ground and begin to backtrack very slowly with a lot of presence. Don't use too much tension anywhere in the body, just pressing up gently, letting the head come up very last. Good. Now we're going to do it one more time here. So beginning to roll in, the head releasing down and rolling forward little by little, releasing the spine. The hands can come wherever. They can remain hanging. They can come to the floor. Maybe they go to a chair. Feel free to bend the knees if you need to. And then really try not to use any back muscles here. Just think unraveling with the support of your alignment. Vertebra by vertebra, head will be absolutely last to come up. So finding your vertical positioning at this point here with the knees soft, I want you to shift your weight into the ball mount and slowly begin to lift your heels up. And then releasing the heels down, bend the knees. Bend the knees as much as they can bend without the heels lifting. And then stretch up. Good. Don't straighten the legs all the way. Just keep a little soft, and then we go up onto the ball mount. So just like that, a few more times. Good. Going up and going down. Make sure your pelvis doesn't tuck as you come down. In fact, I really talk a lot about in my classes that your pelvis needs to stay pretty neutral the whole time. Your objective is to keep your spine in the same alignment through the different transitions that you're going through. Okay, last time here, we're going to go up. Good. Now stay up for a little bit, and I want you to just bounce into your joints. Relax around the knees and ankles. Sometimes I think of this little exercise of bouncing. It's like you're dropping anchors. You're dropping anchors all around you. So that then when you come back to stillness and you're still on your ball mount, you feel more anchored to the ground. You feel more supported. Knees are still soft. Good. Now go ahead and bend the knees and imagine you have rubber bands between your sit bones and heels, and those are beginning to tighten. Good. Then come back up and release. Whew, that was a lot. Shake it out. Shake it out. At any point you feel that I'm holding the pose a little bit longer than what you're able to do, come out of it, reset, do it again. So really no point in pushing. So let's try that again. We'll go several times up and down. And I really want you to hone in on what is the level that is appropriate for you, how high and how low you want to be. So let's go ahead and soften the knees. Bring your weight into the ball mound. Heels lift. And then we stretch up as much as we can. And then you bend the knees as much as you can. And then you stretch. And then you bend. And then you stretch. And you bend. And one more time, you stretch. And you bend. Good. And then come out, release for a moment. So a couple of things I want to note. If you're feeling a little bit of shaking in the legs, that's good news. You just want to monitor it and don't go to that point where it's shaking so much that you don't know if you're going to come out of it. Not a good place to be. And then secondly, your levels can really vary. So let's do this again. And this time, I'm going to go with a very shallow lift in my heels and a very shallow bend in my knees. So you can try it with me and see if this works a little bit better. So soft knees, then come forward into the ball mound. Lift the heels and just kind of lift them so that they're very close to the ground, just slightly off, maybe half an inch or so. And then I want you to stretch up so the legs straighten, but just a little bit soft, remaining soft in the knees. And then you bend. And then you straighten. And I went a little low on that bend, so I'm going to keep it a little bit shallower this time. So you see how I'm really working in a very narrow range, but it's the same exercise. So if you're someone dealing with some knee discomfort and you're interested in conditioning the knees, but you're kind of wanting to be careful and proceed with caution, this would be your modification. All right, and then release. All right, so now there are those of you who really want to go all the way. You love the challenge. You want to push yourself a little bit further, challenge your balance. So I'm going to give you this option. But once again, you want to be very clear with yourself whether your knees are okay with it and if it's appropriate for your body. So you might watch on this first round. What we're going to do is we're going to come up and then we're going to sit all the way to the heels. Okay? So if that doesn't sound good to you, doesn't sound exciting, grab a chair and just go a little bit below your level that we reached before and use the chair to come back up. So that's one way of adapting to it. Let's try it. Here we go. Knees are soft. We're going to shift forward onto the ball mound. We're going to lift the heels and stretch the legs without locking them as high as possible. Then begin to bend the knees, and those rubber bands between the sit bones and the heels are beginning to tighten, 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 tighten. Watch the spine. As you go lower, the spine wants to come forward. So imagine you're sitting back with your back at the wall. So once you're here, take a couple of breaths. And then imagine that somebody has a little string attached to your crown. And on an exhale, you're going to give in to that tension and go all the way up. So let's breathe in together. And then exhale, you go all the way up. Whoo! And then release. Good. Shake it out. Here we go. Soften the knees. Shift into the ball mound. Heels will rise and you'll stretch up without locking the knees. Then begin to bend the knees And gently releasing as slow as possible. Watch that your chest doesn't come forward. Ideally, you have a 90-degree angle between the line of your thighs and your torso. Breathe here for a few moments. And then imagining somebody's pulling you up by that string, we're going to go ahead and lift all the way. Ooh. And release. Nicely done. Shake it out. And then let's finish with one more roll here. Release the chin to the chest. Release the chest towards the thighs. Rolling in. Hands might come to the floor. Knees can be bent. And here you can walk it out a little. Stretch one leg and then the other. So alternating the bend in the knees. Good. And then coming back to center, press into the floor and begin to come up. Vertebra by vertebra. Unrolling the spine. Head will be last to come up. All right. Thanks for joining me today. This was fun. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know how that was for you. You can pop in some feedback in the comments, or if you have any specific questions. If you have a topic that you would like me to cover, anything about alignment, body mechanics, or the right way of doing things for the body, I would love to hear from you. So you can pop in your questions and comments, or just reach out to me. My contact information is on my website, which is in the description. Thanks so much for joining. I will see you next week. Until then, ciao.